Here we go, the 89s and 90s countries, Serbia and Macedonia. So, after Moldova, I went to Romania. It was my second time in Romania, so I stayed a few days in Bucharest and then took the train to the border between Serbia. And from the border in Romania and Serbia, I tried to hitchhike. And then after I get in the vehicle, which I hitchhike, it just suddenly rained. So the driver sent me to the bus station. I caught the bus, continued my journey to Belgrade. I stayed in a hostel. The city in Belgrade is like full of the damage from the NATO airstrike during the history. So you will find that the buildings was ruined around the city. And I also went to the memorial monument of the victims from the China embassy based in Serbia during the attack in the history. So for history, I agree that we can forgive, but we can't forget. And I also visited the moon after the monument. After a few days in Belgrade, I took a train to Niš. I was doing couchsurfing there. My host came to the train station to pick me up. He treated me for the local food. I really enjoyed it. And I slept on his couch. During the day, I went out for sightseeing by myself. I visited the Nazi concentration camp in Niš and also the Scout Tower. Mostly it was raining in Niš during my stay there, so I stayed home most of the time. I also cooked the Chinese food for my host, and my host told me some of the Serbian people using fake certificate to teach English in China. Since if you're Chinese never been abroad, when you see like foreigner like Serbian, their appearance is like typically Westerner. So they would just think they are kind of a native English speaker. But my host is a very genuine, sincerely Serbian. And after this, I went to Kosovo, and I arrived in Pristina very early morning. It was still a huge distance from the town and the bus station. So since I just arrived, I have no currency, so I tried to hitchhike. And there's a Serbian lady just saw me and gave me some coins, asked me for taking bus. And she was the first person who helped me out in Kosovo. I grabbed some food before meeting my host. He is an Albanian ethnic. And he offered me his room, and he himself stayed in the living room. He's a heavy smoker. I have to suffer from the secondhand smoke in order to do couchsurfing. We went out for grocery shopping and a local restaurant. My room couldn't lock during my stay there, and my host got a cat, so sometimes the cat came on my bed when I sleep, and then every time when I wake up for toilet during the night, I noticed my host stays still awake, and he only went to bed until early morning. So to be honest, I really don't feel very safe when staying at his place. Anyway, next day I went out for sightseeing. I visited Grakaria monastery, and on the journey back to Pristina, it was raining dogs and cats. I supposed to be in Pristina a few days, but I felt insecure when doing couchsurfing at my host place, so I left earlier than I planned. Since I entered Kosovo from Serbia, so I have to go back to Serbia first, and after that I'm heading to Macedonia. So I arrived at Skopje, and my host's place was a little bit far from the station, so I had to catch a bus. but I got off on the wrong station when taking the bus, so I walked a long way to my host's apartment. And then after that I went to the wrong room, and then eventually I finally found the right place. My host was an Italian. He works as a lawyer in Skopje, and his house is kind of fancy, so he requests all the couchsurfers to email everyone's passport pages for his reference. I cooked the Chinese food for him, and he really enjoyed it. And he told me he is a bisexual, but his family didn't know that. I asked him a lot of questions since he was the first person being very genuine and sincerely honest to me as a bisexual. And he said he's not going to tell me how many women he slept, but how many men. And he smoked weed every day. I guess perhaps there's kind of pressure from work. He told me he just got married, and his wife was a cabin crew from Montenegro. They were staying in different countries, but this month they will be living together. And then this will be the last few times he hosts couchsurfers. He also encouraged his wife to try bisexual. So, life is all about diversity. My host offered me a single room. It was very comfortable. During the day, he went to work. I went out for sightseeing. Skopje is the hometown of Mother Teresa. So there is a memorial place. I went there to show my respect and to this great lady. Now, I also went to the peak of the mountain top to get to see the view of the host city. One night before I left Skopje, my host got another couchsurfer from Latin America. So I left then to talk, and myself went back to my room to pack my luggage for my next day's departure. From Skopje, I went to Ohrid. I stayed in a guest house. Ohrid is a small town by the lake, and I did a little bit walking around the town and get to see the St. John Church with the lake view. It was really lovely, peace and amazing place. And after spending a few days in Ohrid, I decided to make my way to Albania. I was not very sure to make my way to the southern part of Albania, so I just boarded on the bus heading to Elbasan first. So in a guest house in Ohrid, I met a Canadian roommate. He was also traveling around around Europe. So we were accompanying each other on the bus from Ohrid to Elbasan. So we had a conversation with each other about the trips, about travel, and that makes the journey runs fast. You don't feel that long when you're sitting on the transport. So the next coming episode, that will be Albania. Thank you very much for listening. I will catch you up for the next coming country. Thank you once again. Bye for now.